My task, as an ordinary homeowner with no formal training as an electrician, can I watch a very well-made YouTube video about how to repair a sunken electric outlet, and then perform the same job myself for the first time ever with a reasonable degree of success, instead of hiring a pro to do it and save a few bucks? I'm going to check my skills, and it's a bit of a wake-up call. Let's do it. While I put together my debris catcher, I'll give you a little background. My name is Greg, and I'm an enthusiast about photography, aviation, home repair, maintenance, and other unrelated stuff. Recently, the TA caught me watching DIY videos, and before I had time to really consider what that meant, she said, "That's a great idea. We've lived in this house almost 5 years. Maybe you could finally get around to repairing those sunken outlets in the game room." The TA is my personalized task assigner. I guess in a way it's flattering she thinks my skills are so impressive, but it's also scary because she will frequently talk me into doing things I've never even considered doing before. In that case, I turn to the University of YouTube and start searching for someone who's done this before and hopefully knows what they're doing. Super important to kill the power at the breaker box before you go messing around with any electrical outlets. I have the camera on my tablet aimed at the tester, and I made a video call to my older phone so I can see the light go out when I flip the breaker. I usually use the TA for this, but what if she isn't home, or into a project of her own, or on the phone, or maybe I just want to go total nerd and try this, okay? Jeez. Back in the room, we're going to check both sides of the receptacle because I've learned that the top and bottom portions of the outlet can be split into separate circuits, which means when you least expect it, it can bite you. So I'm going to test both sides on both outlets I'll be working on. The cover on this outlet is also a nightlight activated by a photosensor. It has tabs on the back which need to make contact with the screws on the sides. Whoever did the final trim on my house did me no favors here. They backstabbed the wires into the outlet and left the screws all the way out, which makes it difficult to put this cover on. They also did a dandy job of placing the blue box way too deep, and the drywallers put joint compound on the bottom tab of the outlet. I'm also super impressed by their use of drywall screws instead of the proper ones. There's probably 100 different and easier ways of removing this bit of joint compound off the bottom of the receptacle, but I have this cordless oscillating multi-tool, and because I love power tools, I'm going to put it to use. It's fairly loud in certain situations, and I want to preserve what's left of my hearing, so I have hearing protection. And for our mutual entertainment, I have a nerdy sound meter because I want to see how loud it really gets. Yep, that was total overkill. Anyway, now that all the prep work's done, let's get into the real part of the job. I'm going to let you watch what I'm doing while I go on a meandering stream of consciousness about how this is going downhill the further I get into it. If you look inside the blue box, you can see another pair of drywall screws which they drove right through the side of the box into the stud. Seems pretty close to the screws on the side of the outlet, doesn't it? I guess it's on the neutral side, so at least there's that. Besides, I'm going to put a box extender in there and it'll protect the outlet anyway. But thinking back on it now, I wonder if I could have just taken those screws out and repositioned the blue box instead of using the extender and the spacers I'm going to install shortly. If someone knows the answer to that question, please leave a suggestion in the comments. Oh yeah, and while you're at it, I'd appreciate a thumbs up if you're so inclined, and if you'd like to subscribe to the channel, that would be awesome too. Moving along, did anyone watch me start attaching hot wires without attaching the ground wire and the neutral wires first? And how about the part where I put the first hot wire on clockwise, then my brain drifted off into the sunset and I put the second hot wire on backward? Stay tuned, it gets even better. Here are the box extenders I'm going to use. I get them situated on the outlet and then head to the garage stash to find some long 632 machine screws, which I know I have, until I can't find any. Then my brain starts spinning about how I don't want to run to the depot again just to get 4 screws, and I come up with this reasoning, and I think you'll love it. The dummy who used drywall screws in the blue box may have ruined the box, and since I have a metric ton of long 832 screws, that would be better. Am I right? Sure. So I put in my spacers, which is another interesting story. The YouTube professor I watched to get myself psyched up and prepared for this debacle, task, recommended some red spacers sold on Amazon at 4 strips for $6, but when I went to the depot I found a pack of these black spacers at 5 strips for $3.27. Thinking I'm just a crazy genius, I bought those instead. When I got them home, I found that when I folded them over and snapped them together, they wanted to come unsnapped all the time and they were kind of a pain to work with. Maybe it would have been worth the $6 for the red ones. After all, I didn't see my mentor's spacers giving him any trouble. Now I'm going to proceed to drive these 832 screws into place with the bits slipping out over and over so I can round out the screws nicely and perhaps never remove them in the future. Now that I have the outlet in and adjusted, let's get the cover plate back on and voila! Looks great, right? Remember to take that screwdriver bit. I'll need it on the next one. You ever notice how the second time you do a task it goes a little faster? While I'm doing this second receptacle at high speed, I'll tell you a funny story about the wire stripper pliers my YouTube professor recommended. He liked a particular pair because, among other things, it had a feature where you can cut long screws to a shorter size when needed, and his pliers did not have any threading. You just slide the screw in quickly, cut it to size, and move along. Great idea. But by the time I got to the depot, I forgot all about that. I bought a pair of Milwaukee pliers which did have threads in them. In my case, it was helpful so I could sort through my menagerie of leftover screws and use the pliers to help me figure out what size they were by threading them into either the 632 or the 832 side. That's how I knew, ahead of time, without a doubt, I was intentionally using the wrong screw on that first receptacle. Pretty handy in my case. The power is back on, so let's check our work and see if we get 4 good test lights. Oh yeah, love it when a plan comes together. So here we have before and after shots of the first piece of work and the second piece of work. I wonder if the TA'd be willing to come in here and do some vacuuming for me. Hang on a second, what are those screws doing there? Where'd they come from? Let's go back a second, take a look at them. When I opened up the bag, and wow, right there at the top of the bag. 4 6x32 long screws, unreal. I gave myself a C+ on this project, but the TA gave me an A-. What do you think? Job well done? Come to Daddy. Links to the tools, supplies, and gear I used in this video are in the description. I'll post more videos when the TA assigns me more tasks, and maybe even if she doesn't. Please like, subscribe, and comment, and thanks for watching.